All right, we're back. We got 1/3 of Unashamed Faith and Fitness, Mr. Brock Kirby.
What's
You have
up?
your what's up, dude? we so you did it. You just did an episode without JY. How is that?
It was different. It was
Is it?
I mean it wasn't terrible. He we knew he wasn't gonna be there. He's doing the fittest experience. Does that
Yeah.
sound right? I don't know if
Yeah.
he's doing it or if he's commentating. I can't remember, but
I think
yeah,
he's
it
doing.
was different.
Yeah. Who's the new guy? Daniel. I like him. He's cool.
Yeah, he is. He's a dude. He's a really good dude. He apparently so him and John grew up together, played
Okay.
football together, and so they've known each other. I'm pretty sure he was John's best man, and John was his best man in their wedding. So that's
Oh, that's
pretty
cool.
cool. I'd never met him. He's played in the NFL. He played, I think he said 5 seasons in the NFL.
Oh wow,
Tight end.
crazy. Oh, so he's a big dude.
Yeah. Oh well, I don't. I say yeah. I don't really know, but I'm assuming.
Which one's more by the book? Like which one is more I'm following the word to the T?
I don't know. It may be like a Sunday school answer, but I mean, really both of them for the most part. I mean, which I don't know Daniel as well, so I've just literally the first show that we did. That was I had his him and John were in a group message, so like we were texting back and forth. But the night that I sent out the link to him and John, that was the first time I'd ever seen him. Whenever so as soon as we
Oh,
went live, like that was when I met him pretty much. So I don't know him as much, but just from texting and talking on the show, I mean he seems pretty legit. I mean he's very straightforward and very knowledgeable when it comes to the Bible.
he was cool. I like listening to y'all. I saw the first one with the three of y'all together, and then I just saw this last one with just you and him, and it's cool. It's very cool. It was a good conversation.
Was it
Yeah, I
nice
thought it
to
was
be
pretty
able
good.
to talk and not have John talk the whole time?
See, I kind of feel sometimes I feel the opposite. Like I feel like I ramble. I'm bad about rambling. Like I'll get on a topic and I'll just keep going and going and going and going, which is not always a bad thing. But
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like I
Slater,
ramble a lot.
yo, what's up, dude? Standy, good to see you, lady. What's going on? So where you're at right now? You're running a marathon, right? Is
Yep,
it
tomorrow
full
morning.
marathon? Half?
Yep, full.
Dang. Nope.
Yeah,
I would cheer for
it's
you though.
pretty crazy. The biggest. Well, I've done some long runs like training for it, but as far as races, the longest race I've ever done is 5 miles. That
That's a
should
pretty
be
Did you
big
interesting.
train
jump.
for it?
Yeah, I've been training for like two
Okay.
months, but I was telling Colleen that most people, just from talking to some of the runners, most people train for like 6, 8, 9, 10
Yep.
months,
Yep.
and every one of them that I said, yeah, it's in February, and I've been training for like 4 weeks. And they're like, oh, good luck.
I actually helped a friend. He did the same thing. He had this crazy idea. Him and his buddy were like, we want to run a marathon. And I think it was very similar, like maybe 6 weeks. I helped him, take care of his knee, his shins, and like was doing like mobility and strength training, and to try to keep his knees, because he was coming back from a knee injury. And not like immediately, like it was, I think like a year or so ago that he had hurt his knee, but he still feels a lot of frustration in his knee and pain in his knee sometimes.
Yeah.
So he looked at me and he was like, hey, I want to run a marathon. I'm like, great, let's train for it. He's like, no, it's in like 6 weeks. I was like, I don't think that's the best idea, but I helped him and he was able to do it. So I guess it's possible.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing is like I don't have great knees already, and it's rough on my knees and my legs and
And you're
hips.
tall
Just
too.
God, bad.
You're
Yeah, I'm like right at 6 foot.
Yeah, you're a sturdy dude. You're not one of those skinny marathon runners by any means whatsoever.
I know, but everybody, well, not everybody. There's one dude at the gym, and every time he sees me, he's like, "Dude, you're getting too skinny. You need to start, you need to stop running." And I do. I can tell that I'm getting a little bit weaker, which I'm not. I'm not very strong, anyways, as far as like barbell weight strong.
Mhm.
So I don't need to get any weaker, but I have. That's all
So
right.
are you
It'll come back.
doing, are you still CrossFit training a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. I'll do. So I've been doing a workout every day for my mom since she
Yeah.
started treatment, and so the last since I've started training for the marathon, I've been doing like every other day, kind of like some days it gets mixed up, but one day I'll do like the CrossFit style workout, and then the next day it will be my running day,
Mhm.
and I just kind of keep rotating like that. I
And
was
you're
trying to do both, and it just my body just wasn't. I just needed to chill a little bit.
No, that's a lot. And the workout for your mom, did you create the workout? Did JR create the workout? How did you come up with the workout for your mom?
So I actually, so there's a one of the coaches at the gym. She's not coaching right now. She just had twins, as a matter of fact. But
Mhm.
she did some programming for me in the past. So I talked with her, and she kind of gave me some ideas. And then I talked to John, and John kind of gave me some ideas. So I kind of
Nice.
took a little bit of both and just put them together.
And there's running in this workout as well, right?
Not this time. No, there has been.
Oh, okay.
So
Because
so
I was
what
like, we're
the
just running every day. A lot of
no. So she does a treatment every 3 weeks. So and this was John's idea. Every 3 weeks, the workout changes. So it's let's see. So I'll start every time it starts out with 54 calorie machine, and which I've been doing just bike just to kind of the blood flow in my legs. The 54 calorie bike, that's your buy-in, and then you do 4 round. Right now, it's 4 rounds, 5 sandbag cleans at 150, 10 burpee chest to bar, and 15 GHDs. And then your cash out is another 54 calorie bike because
Yeah.
Mama, she's 54 years old. She's got 4 kids, so 4 rounds, and her birthday's May, which is 5. The 10 I just kind of threw in there, and May 15th, so 5, 15. So I kind of just to kind of do it as to remember.
I love that.
Not
That's
to I
awesome.
mean, she's still here, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
An honor, I
celebrate.
guess.
Yeah. Celebrate and honor her. And that's the heart and soul of CrossFit. So
Yeah.
What
I
are you
mean, it's really
running?
cool.
Is that you're running the marathon for your mom? Like it's for breast
Yep.
cancer?
Yep.
That's cool. Is it just
Yeah,
local or is it?
I got to looking it up, and I did because I believe Breast Cancer Awareness Month is October, I think. So in like December, I think it was in December, I started looking up breast cancer runs or some kind of, I don't know, it was weird. Like I just wanted to do something hard, if that makes sense. Like I don't really know why. Like I guess mentally, like I was just like, if she's gonna suffer through treatment, then I'll suffer through something. So I just
Don't
started
you?
looking it up, and then this popped up, and I was like, I kept saying, I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it. So I kind of started running and kind of started training, and I was like, one day, I think it was in January, like I had told a few people that I was gonna do it, and I was like, dude, you're not committed until you sign up, until you pay the money. So then I went and signed up, and I was like, all right, it's game
It's
time
official
now.
now.
Yeah, ain't no
Don't
backing out. I ain't losing $100.
yeah, right. Or it can't be
Not
for
with
nothing.
babies.
Yeah.
Not with babies,
Yeah.
you're not.
No, heck no, that's formula.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like that's kind of what a lot of us do? Like if we're in kind of emotional distress or we're trying to cope with something or whatever, we go do something that hurts a little bit.
Hmm.
It's almost like you
Yep,
kind
and
of
that's
want something to hurt a little bit more than how you're hurting in
yep.
that moment.
Yep. As far as the physical aspect, I relate to that a lot. Like that's one reason like CrossFit has kind of I guess increased that within me, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
you hurting when you're doing CrossFit, but then right afterwards you're like, man, I can't wait for tomorrow, or I can't wait for Wednesday. So I don't know. It's just something to keep me pushing, I guess. But yes, but no, I'm with you. Like it's just something, I don't know, something mental.
Yeah, there is something about that. When I was younger, and I would have trouble coping, or I would be in like emotional pain or something like that. For me, it was tattoos. Like
Mm,
until I found CrossFit, until I found being able to work out and do it that way, that was how it felt like every time something went wrong or every time that I was breaking down emotionally, like I went and got a tattoo just so I could hurt for a little bit and it hurt more.
yeah,
I was concentrating on that pain instead of concentrating on whatever pain was going on in my life at the time, that kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. No, that's cool.
Um,
That's a good way for. Oh, that's good for tattoos. Like I've never thought of it like that because they do hurt.
right?
A lot. They do hurt a
I do
lot.
it drives me nuts when people are like, oh, I almost fell asleep when I got mine. Like, shut up, you
No,
are
you didn't.
lying.
Yeah.
In no way.
Sandy, no, I just grabbed a bottle of tequila. Okay, girl. Okay. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about this. It's for us, like in the gay community, it seems like we get lumped in with every kind of ideology that they have, right? If you're gay, you must believe in everything that the LGBT whatever says, right? I wondered if that applies to you as a Christian. Are there ever any, with all the different religions that are out there, are there ever any like religious ideas that you kind of get lumped into with just because you're a Christian that you're like, nah, I don't subscribe to that? Like any
Mm.
Catholic beliefs, or I mean, I don't know what your exact. John won't
I
tell
mean,
me.
I think a lot of times, I think that's what's hard about like the denominations because each, I know this is kind of a little bit out of what you asked, but in a way, like each, like there's different denominations and each of them have like little things that are different. Like for example, Presbyterian, they're big drinkers. Like they're okay with drinking. Well, then some of your Baptists are okay with drinking, but then like your Independent Baptist is like no alcohol, and then your this, and this. So I guess as a whole, a Christian is kind of, I don't know, like you are kind of put in just this big bowl, and I think, I don't know if this is kind of what you're asking, but I think a lot of the problem is like you've got your people who are actually trying to be Christians that are in this bowl, but then you've also got the people who are just doing their church on Sundays to make them feel better, and then they're living like hell Monday through Saturday. Well, then you're all still in this bowl to the outside world. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know if
exactly
I'm
what.
misunderstanding your question.
No,
Is that,
yep,
you know what I'm saying?
that's spot on.
And
Does it ever?
I think that's an issue because like it says in the Bible that you can't be hot or cold. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't be lukewarm. You're either hot or cold. So you're either in or you're out. So everybody that's in that bowl together, you got the people who are trying to do it the right way, and then the people who aren't. Well, I'm getting viewed the same way as these people who are hating on these people. Like
Yes.
for an easy example, so you've got the oh crap, what's the name of the church? West something, I think.
Is it like a
But
big,
they're always like, you see the people, you see them holding up these signs
like a
like,
Joel Osteen or something?
well, these people, like they'll hold it, just for an easy example, since I'm talking with y'all, they'll hold up a sign that says God hates fags.
Right.
Like
Yeah. I've seen
that
those.
is not at all what God's about. You know what I'm saying? Like that's displaying a negative image, and me who's trying to live as a Christian from the outside world, I'm getting put in the same bowl as they're in, because you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to love people and they're hating people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is that hard for you to deal with? Because so for the last 4 years, right, Christians have kind of taken a hit, for lack of a better term, because the last administration wasn't very pro Christ, wasn't very pro church,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, and So I wondered if you guys kind of felt that hit a little bit, like, hey, whoa, we're not, we're not down with hate the gay people, hate whoever. We're definitely not down with that. But you got lumped into that whole mess that happened. So I wonder if you guys, because even if you mention the word Bible or you try to talk to somebody about reading the Bible or Jesus or any of that stuff, they immediately are just like, yeah, no, you're a Bible thumper or whatever goes with that. Like, don't put that in my face.
Yeah.
And it's real funny because we're like, hey, don't put that in my face. And then when we ask our community, hey, don't throw like our gay shit in their face, they don't want to do it. They have to throw it in your face.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like there's not an even playing field. Like and for a lot of the listeners, so like this, I think this would be an easy example. So John Young, if he, and this is, and I've told him this, and we've said it on our show before, this is 100% my opinion, but I do not believe for a second, if he did not proclaim to be a Christian, that all that Mitchell Hooper stuff, that would have never happened. I don't think, because if you go back and look at the responses that he made about John, he mentions him being a Christian numerous times. So it's like if John was just a regular dude, like for example, Savon, he can say whatever the heck he wants and nobody says anything to him. You know what I mean? But then you've got John who makes some comments that, in my opinion, I mean, yeah, I'm biased because I'm friends with him, but in my opinion, was blown way out of proportion, way out of context. But because John is claiming Christ, claiming to be a Christian, well, now they've got something to use against him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I think from how I've seen and experienced religion for a lot of my life is that it is very much the people that claim to be Christians and firm believers of the word and follow the word and whatever, that, like you said, then turn around and completely do everything that is opposite of what it says. So it's almost like some people use religion as I'm better than you. And I think people receive it that way, even if they don't, even if you're not looking at me like I'm better than you because I believe. Some people receive it no matter what. You say you're a Christian, and then the same way that you guys were just saying, I was that person. Anytime anybody said I'm a Christian, I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? So I think when you are portrayed that way, or society has portrayed you that way, or, somebody has received something that you said where you do come across as I'm better than you. And then you turn around and you're a human and you say something that doesn't align. I get where you're coming from, because it could be this target on John where it's like, okay, dude, you keep walking around and telling people that you're a Christian. That means you cannot act out of line. And to people, that was out of line.
Yeah. But on the flip side of that, if you're not, like if John's not saying that, then I mean, what is there to use against him? You know?
Yeah.
Well, for lack of better words, that's a crazy cross to bear. If you say that you're a Christian, then everybody who's not one just expects you guys to be perfect literally all the time, which is the complete not meaning of being a Christian. The idea is that you're not perfect all the time. And
which is why we need God.
Right.
Because we're not perfect. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. I don't want to lose this. Judge Reed, what's up, dude? Or Judge Doug. Look at the comments on any stream where Sprague is competing. There's a small vocal anti-Christian contingent. Yeah, I've definitely seen that. And it is crazy. And they do ride hard. Like they go at him insane. I don't want to see this guy. I don't want to watch this guy. I don't want to listen to this guy talk. Please don't let him win the event, because then he's going to spout whatever. And it's like, wow, you can't listen to
but like, so what about the NBA players who are kneeling because of Black Lives Matter? So where's you know what I'm saying? Like, why is there a double standard? Why is it just because James Sprague stands up for what he believes in and is vocal about it? But on the flip side, why is there no hate to that? You know what I mean? Why was I don't know. I better stop.
Because you
I'm
no,
gonna
it's
say,
fine.
I'm gonna say something I shouldn't.
Because I truly believe this. You can only stand up for what what they believe is morally superior. If they think they're morally superior and there can't be any other morals out there, so you have to stand up for what they believe in. And it's like, no. The people that wanted to kneel for Black Lives Matter, fine. You knelt for I knelt for Black Lives Matter, like before my, understanding of what was happening. But
Right.
you know what I mean? If somebody wants to take a stand for Christ and share their message about Christ, like no one said that about Rich. No one was mad when he was on every documentary talking about his love for Christ and giving his life
Still
to
does.
Christ, and nobody batted an eye. And that's why, Kenneth, I believe this too. I remember a time when it seemed like being a Christian was a prerequisite for an elite CrossFitter. And it kind of was. And so was first responders, respecting first responders, military, all that stuff. And now it's a little bit gone. Like, right? Does it feel like that?
Yeah, it's a little woke.
Are we losing it a little bit?
I mean, and not to. I mean, I don't want to bring politics in it, but when you start speaking like you were saying, like when this person over here is voicing their opinion, but then the person who's receiving it's like, no, I don't want to hear that, but you're going to listen to what I have to say. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of what the issue with, and I don't, a lot of times like that's what the issue with your far left people and even your far right people are the same way. So it's not just the left when it comes to politics, but far left and far right, they're like, you're going to listen to what I have to say, but I don't care about what you have to say. You know what I'm saying? And that's not how it's supposed to work.
Well, I know
freedom of speech is legit. I mean, you should have freedom. You can say whatever the heck you want to, but I should be able to say what I want to too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, babe, when you were saying you feel like that it's gone, I actually feel that it's come back, because you hear a lot more people that get on a mic and the first thing that they do is they thank God or they thank, Christ or, whatever. And so I actually feel like it's a lot more than it used to be. You know what I mean? You hear it on podcasts, you hear it on shows, you hear it on like NBA athletes, all this type of thing. Like they're talking about it more. Do you feel like that the extreme left that we kind of all felt for the last 4 years, do you think it almost silenced the conversation about religion? Whereas maybe not that people weren't talking about it, but it wasn't given as much light, or people maybe didn't talk about it in the right spaces. And now it almost feels like that everybody gets to talk about it, and gets to talk about, is going to talk about it, and will continue to talk about it.
It makes me wonder if there's people on the other side of those mics saying, hey, you don't talk about this, or this. You can talk about whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to like start. I mean, I'm a big conspiracy guy, but not to start like conspiracy or nothing. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Did you ever feel like you couldn't? Were there just spaces where you just wouldn't talk about it because you're like, hey, like Kenneth said, I don't want the backlash from this, or I don't feel like hearing that I'm controversial or whatever?
Me personally, I've never been in a situation personally that, I mean, it would be easy for me to say that, I'm always going to stand up and say what I believe. And I would like to think that I would, but I've honestly never been in a situation to where I would potentially catch crap for standing up and saying something. Now I've been in like some awkward situations where like I might kneel and pray or something before a workout or something like that. But as far as being the oddball to stand up and like potentially catch hate for it, I've never really been in that situation. I think that I would, but I haven't personally been in that situation.
We're in a world right now where a lot of people feel, and I think we equate this to social media, that we need to be wanted and accepted by every single person in this world. Like every single person needs to accept every single thing that I believe, because if they don't, then they're against me, or I need to go fix
Right.
them because, whatever. For you personally, do you feel like it's more important that the masses understand who you are, or the most intimate know who you are? Like your family, your friends, new relationships. Like obviously we have a new friendship. We've met, each other, talked to each other a couple of times and whatever. Do you feel like it's, for you personally, it's more of like I kind of think of it like the church motto, like I need to reach the masses? Or do you feel like it's more important to speak about your beliefs and stuff like that to the most intimate people that you know?
Well, I think personally for me, it would definitely be for the friends, family, like the more intimate people, because I don't really have a platform, like a large, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus like somebody like I don't know, like a Tim Tebow, he's got a huge following, and he's a very well-known Christian in the sports community. So I mean, and I believe for him it would be both. So I'm sure, I don't know for sure, but like his close friends and family, I'm sure he's very intimate with his relationship with Christ with them as well. But he also uses his platform to reach the masses.
Mm-hmm.
So, like me personally, not really having a platform, I think it's definitely more important, because like somebody like me, the way I'm going to show Christ to somebody is by building that relationship. Like if I don't know you and I just come up preaching a Bible verse to you, how are you gonna respond to that?
Mm-hmm.
But if we've connected, if we've broke bread together, if we've hung out, or I don't know, shared a coffee, or just talked at work or whatever, when that conversation comes up, in my opinion, they're going to be more apt to listen to you, because they know you, or they have that respect built for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Cooper, real life people, not the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the same way too. And we've been trying to, again, for the last 4 years, just do way too much for no reason. It's not helpful at all.
But and also I have an issue, like I struggle with caring too much about what people think about me. So I'm not gonna sit here on this podcast and be like, yeah, I've got it all together. Like I like people to like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want people to think highly of me, and a lot of times that can get to my head, and I can find myself doing things just to receive gratitude from people, or just to receive, you know what I mean? Receive praise from people.
You're not alone, Brock. You're definitely not alone.
and that's crazy to think that maybe, hey, like I can't share that I have a relationship with Christ, or we can't share that we are gay or something like that, because somebody else might not like me. But then I have to look back through all my life experiences. I have never, ever had someone look me dead in my face and just be like, hey, I can't be friends with you because you're gay. So if my history shows anything, no one's ever said it to me. Maybe somebody found out I was gay and then didn't come around anymore or whatever. But I've never had someone physically actually look me in my eye and say, hey, you're gay, I can't talk to you.
But they do with politics.
But they will with politics and religion.
Yeah. Well, that's something too that bothers me, is like people have forgotten that we can disagree and still be friends. I mean, that's like this whole country has forgotten that we can disagree on stuff and still be friends.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because you don't take it personal? Like if somebody doesn't believe something that you like, so for instance, obviously you and I do not have the same beliefs in God. We don't. Do you take it personal that I don't believe the same thing that you do? No. I think that's where we're losing each other, is because we take everything so personal, and and like I can't say to you, or you can't say to me, like, listen, if you say to me, God is very important to me, I get to be happy for you for that. I have not experienced the same thing. It doesn't mean that I'm morally degrading you, that you're morally degrading me. It's simply just like, I'm happy for you that you experienced that. And for you, maybe it's, you hope one day that I get to experience something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, see that, and that's where the problem comes in, because if I do, like we were just talking about, if I do take it personal and I get mad at you for that, well, what if that opportunity for you comes down the road, but you can't reach out to me because I'm pissed off at you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where you've got to have the relationships with people, because, like, for example, and not saying that I would be the one or John would be the one or whoever,
Yeah.
but if you had a question about something and we didn't have a good relationship, you're not going to contact me. You're not going to contact John if you don't have you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to contact who you feel comfortable with, or who you trust, you know?
Yeah. And the only person around religion that I have ever trusted is my wife. That is why I always say that I have learned religion through her and her beliefs.
But because she can ask me questions, and I don't look at her and be like, well, you're a stupid idiot. How could you not believe this? How could you not, you know what I mean? Like, I answer her questions and she takes away what she takes away. You guys answer her questions. She takes away from it what she takes away from it. And so it's easy to talk to you guys about something that notoriously is hard to have a conversation about. That's all.
Yeah.
But this is cool, Kenneth. I don't want to lose this because I wanted to ask Brock about this too. The only judgment we should care about is the judgment of God. And I think that's something that, like, we've all said, believers, non-believers, we've all looked at somebody in their face and like, well, I don't care what you think. The only person that can judge me is God. And I'm pretty sure everybody said that, whether they've been a believer or not be a believer.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally, I believe that. I do think the only person that can judge me is God. But the people that aren't believers want to judge you anyway. Like, I would never judge non-believers, but non-believers will judge you in a heartbeat and still think that the only person that can judge people is God. It's just crazy to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's like an oxymoron.
Yeah. Like, I can't come to grips with that either. I just, you know, I don't know. That's why you kind of can't have conversations like this with people that aren't willing to hear you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because a conversation, I would say a conversation is more listening than it is. You know, does that sound weird? Like, in a conversation, you have to listen in order to respond. You know, like, you can't, like we were saying earlier, like the people who are like, hey, I could care less what you're going to say, but you're going to listen to what I have to say. You know,
right?
Like, we can't have the Bible in the library, but we're going to have drag queens read your kids children's books.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's an extreme example, but that crap's real.
The world of extremes. We're definitely living in the world of extremes. Well, I would actually love to ask you both this question. And why is it so important to you that God is the only person that can judge you?
Because we're screwed up people.
Yeah, man's not perfect.
I'm screwed up. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, at the end of the day, whenever I take my last breath, it doesn't matter what neither one of y'all think about me. You know, because I'm not coming back. You know what I'm saying? So, like, in this earth, or on this earth, I mean, because as a Christian, you know, I believe that when we take our last breath, we're going to be standing before God, and He's going to judge us for everything that we've done. I mean, neither one of y'all are going to be standing beside me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but again, like, that's easy for me to say. Like, I say it a lot, like it's the Sunday school answer. So that's easy for me to say that, but I mean, I still care about what people think a lot of times, you know, and we shouldn't.
That's crazy, babe, because that actually goes into the question that I had for Brock from your podcast the other night, when I said that my takeaway from the conversation that you were having was that it sounds to me like we have to put a lot of trust in man. and a lot of faith in man. And that was because you have to trust the men that wrote the Bible, right? They brought God's word. And so we have to trust them that they did that correctly. And then we have men who are interpreting the Bible to us. So we have to trust them to deliver the message in the correct way. So it just, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, you have, if you have faith in God, you have faith in God, but you have to have a lot of faith in man to be able to have faith in God. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I guess my, not argument, but my, on the flip side of that, how do we know the information that we know about Alexander the Great?
Man
Just
gave
for
it
an easy example, because man gave it to us.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got to use, like, if we're going to use that standard, well, then how can you trust anything in a biology book? Or how can you trust anything in a U.S. history book? Because all of that was relayed through men, right? And I think, I mean, you know, yes, it was written by men, and it was inspired by God through men. But, like, how else, I guess if you think about it, how else would what's the word I'm looking for, or what's the phrase I'm looking for? How else would we get it? Yeah, God could just play a movie screen on the sky and show us everything that happened. But how much more of a personable God would he be if he's writing his word through men that we can one-on-one relate with? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, my only thing with that is, like, okay, if I read a biology book, biology is proven. Like, it's proven that there's only 2 genders. It's proven that, you know,
really,
like,
that's crazy.
That's true in a biology book, right? No, I know. I know it sounds ridiculous. My bad. Like, but it's actually been proven true. For me, because we rely on, I mean, you just saw that lady, right? That bishop that went in front of Trump and basically preached politics. You know what I mean? There was a very fine line between her preaching any type of the word and then not putting her own agenda in what she was preaching. And for me, that's scary, because who am I trusting to interpret the Bible and to interpret God's word for me, or to help me figure it out?
And that's one thing I think that a lot of good pastors, they'll tell you as they're preaching, or when they finish or whatever, don't take my word for it. Take his word. Do your own research. You know what I'm saying? But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So how do you know that the biology book is proven?
Science.
Like okay, so how do you know that science is true? Who has told us that science is?
Okay, sure. Man did,
you know what
all
I'm
of
saying?
the experiments. Yeah, man tested
Right.
all the experiments and did the thing and put it in a book, and so we're supposed to believe it. Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know that's the same argument that I just used, but it kind of fits.
For science, for me, there's no real interpretation. It either it is or it isn't. Like, for me, it's kind of like math. Like, maybe a better example is some other book, some like English or history book or some. I think the Alexander the Great one was the better use of it, because you don't know what actually happened. You have to trust that the stories passed down over time,
right,
are correct. So yeah, I think I see that more than anything. It's just, for me, when it comes to God, I need to trust the person that's helping me interpret the Bible, because then how do you, like, you guys all decided on your podcast, all 3 of you decided together that it was okay to miss church on Sunday to go to a sporting event or something or whatever. Like, it was okay to not go to church or be in church on Sunday. You guys decided that was okay. Like who do you trust to interpret what's okay and what's not in the Bible? Does that make sense?
Well, on that specific example, I said, yeah, I think it's okay every once in a while. Like if you know what I'm saying, but if it's a habit, I don't think that's okay. Like I think you should be at church. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Okay,
do.
if it's
I think
okay if
that
we're
you
gay
should
every
be.
once in a while.
Just once in a
Just
while.
Do
once in a while.
13 years,
Sorry,
baby.
that was fun. That was just fun. That was just fun for me.
13 years
I'm messing
together.
with you. Totally messing with you.
No, you're good.
No, but I think that is part of the conversation too, at least from my perspective, is because, one of the things that John and I talked about was this idea of what's the word and then the messengers of the word. So when I would go to church, when I was younger, I loved the music. I loved the stories. I loved that in some way, this person was able to read what was in this book and tell a story for me to understand what the message was from this book. And then even when I was older and I could go and I could understand more. And when I didn't go to church a couple times, like I still love the music. I love gospel music. Like I feel it in my entire body. And the stories that were told, I was able to relate to and pick this from the story and be like, okay, I get that. But it's the hardest part for me is this idea that it's an end all be all. It has to be said this way and only this way. And if you don't follow it completely, then you're not actually a follower. But if you don't, it's like there's so many like this, that, whatever, at least how I receive it, at least how I've heard it. Like you have to read the book and you have to go by the word, but you have preachers that say that they are Christian and they don't actually preach exactly what the word says. You can only be a true believer if you go to church on Sundays, and maybe religions.
That's the thing that we're having problems with is like, is there a stipulation to being a true believer?
Well, I think based on that example, that specific example, the flaw there is not in the book. The flaw is in the person teaching the book. You know what I'm saying? So the flaw is in the man. It's not in this book. You know what I mean? So that's why, and it's a shame because that happens a lot in churches across the world. But that's why it's such a big deal to have people who are Bible believing people preaching the word of God. You know what I mean? Because if you can, like the pastor, bishop, whatever she was called that we did on our show the other week.
Yeah.
She's not preaching the word, you know, and she is deceiving people who are listening to her. So that's because she is portraying that she is preaching the word, and she's gaining followers who are believing what she's preaching, which is not true. So that it is very important to be at a church or be under the counsel of somebody who is Bible believing. And that's why it's also important to do your own research, and whatever they're saying, if it's not backed up by this, it's not true. Because there's only one truth, you know?
Maybe I finally found a way to ask this the right question. I think I haven't, just all the conversations I've had, I feel like I haven't been able to put this question to words, but can I be considered a true believer even though I am a lesbian? Like I've always gone to church. I've always tried to follow God's commandments, God's laws. I've always tried to, like, can I be considered? Because technically then I'm a lesbian. I'm a sinner.
Right.
So could I be considered a true believer or no? Because I'm
I don't know. That's tough because obviously, you know, we just talked about I can't judge your heart. You can't judge my heart. So you know what's in your heart. God knows what's in your heart, but I don't. You know what I mean? And I think as a sinner myself, you know, all of us are sinners. Well, I think what we have to do is when we receive Christ, we let Him change us. Like nobody else can change you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's a tough question because I
I think
can't.
that's what makes it hard for us.
You know what I mean?
I think that's what
But
makes
I
it
think
hard
you can
for us.
go by what's in here. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But how
Because
do you? But you can't stop being a sinner. Like you're gonna
no, you can't.
just because
We're always going to
you read the
be sinners.
Bible and go what's within the Bible as best you can. We're all gonna continue.
But that's the thing. Your actions don't.
Oh,
save
because
you.
I'm choosing to.
You know what I mean?
Is that what it
like
is?
I can't do enough good to be saved. You see what I'm saying? Like that's a works based salvation.
Gotcha.
Salvation comes from Christ. It's not. I can't do enough to make it to heaven because
Okay.
we're sinners. So my bad is always going to outweigh my good because
Right.
we're not worthy of that.
See, here we go. We're getting into where like I just don't understand again. So like, okay, so Kenneth here, we were talking about something else, but you also have to listen to your heart. God speaking to you, you will get the feeling of when an interpretation or a preacher is off of God's intention and speaking for themselves. So just the part about that he says about listen to your heart, God speaking to you, and like he'll guide you and he'll move you. Like I do feel that way. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of
Let's
go ahead,
see.
because I'm definitely I'm not good at scripture, but yeah.
See, this is where I can argue that you can't trust your heart because hang tight.
Nope, you're good.
Brock came
Someone
prepared.
did Judy
He was like,
Judy said
"Hold
somewhere that
on."
Sevon is Judy said somewhere that Sevon's getting saved or feels God working through. Really? There was a caller. The caller on Sevi's show on Friday was interesting listen. I think he was getting through to Sevi. Judy, Sevon. Oh shit. Sevon is acknowledging he is being used by God. Being used by God is huge. He is close. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Did you find?
So in Jeremiah 17, and I didn't, just for the record, I did not know this off. This is from Google. I didn't know this off the top of my head. I don't want to come across as this guy who knows the Bible super
Brock, it's
well.
okay. You could have taken the credit, man. You could have.
No, I know, but no, I can't.
Nobody
Look,
would.
I'm supposed to be humble as a Christian, so that's me showing humility. So it says in Jeremiah 17, verses 9 and 10, it says, "The human heart is most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? But I, the Lord, search all hearts and examine the secret motives. I give all people their due rewards according to their actions that they deserve." So that's God saying that your heart is wicked because we're sinful people, so our heart is going to desire sinful things. So you can't always follow your heart.
Well,
because your heart is gonna, you know what I'm saying? Your heart is gonna go towards the world.
Okay, all right.
Yes, he did give us free will because we all have a choice.
So you can't get it through works. You can't trust your heart. This is getting like sad, man. I don't know what's left. What's it? I'm starting to feel defeated over here. I don't know. It's
no, don't feel defeated.
That is why I right now where I'm at, I don't think that I could ever really, I guess you could say, welcome God into my heart, how you guys say it, or follow that, because all I hear is that I'm supposed to give up everything that makes me happy in the one life that I get. Like I get one of these. We all get one of these. And I'm supposed to give up everything that makes me happy. The most important things that make me happy, obviously, is being married to my wife. And she is the reason that I have been able to grow into this person that I am and live out the truths, I guess you could say, in most of what I've learned about what the word says, you know. But I'm supposed to give up all of that because he said so.
Ooh, this is making me sad a little bit.
So
hold on a second.
So just Just a you want to wait? You want to wait for her to get back?
She's coming. She turned the heat down a little bit. It's a little hot in here
Oh, you're
too.
good. It's hot in this room that I'm in.
He's about to take his hat off.
Dude, a little side note. I'm bad whenever I'm. You probably notice when we're on our show. Like I'll take it and I'll turn it around and then I always like fidget with my hat. I've tried to today. I was like, dude, you're not gonna touch your hat that much.
I need a second to collect myself. Who are we rooting for in the playoffs? I'm kind of screwed because I don't like either team. You two, who's your team
for football?
Unfortunately, the Panthers.
Oh, that sucks. The Super Bowl, yeah.
So I have no dog in the fight. No, but I don't like the Chiefs. I don't
either. I can't do the Chiefs again. I just had this whole thing with a friend of mine. I was like, hey, I cannot do the freaking Chiefs again.
One thing that makes me so mad is when people are like, oh, is that the team that Taylor Swift's boyfriend? Like,
yes.
I'm so over Travis Kelce. I can't do it.
Wasn't he good before he got with Taylor?
He's still good, but he's just annoying.
Yeah, he is good.
Kenneth, I guess I have to go for the Eagles because Saquon's on there and he was my guy for the longest.
Well,
so.
and Baby
he's so good.
He's so good.
Yeah. Baby G hurt her heart the other day when he's like, hey, Mom, I think I'm going to vote for the Eagles next year because Saquon Barkley is really good.
Nobody tell Bruce Wayne that shit. Do not tell Bruce Wayne that my kid is going to root for the Eagles next year.
But we have made a boundary, huge boundary. Nobody's buying him an Eagles jersey. Don't send him an Eagles jersey. Nobody out there. If Vindicate's out there, do not send him an
Eagles jersey. Oh, my God.
Do y'all follow college football at all?
I do a little bit, yeah.
Who's your team?
I don't really have. I guess when I was younger, like young, it would have probably been Penn State, just because my aunt went to Penn State. I got to go hang out.
They were good this year.
Were they? I did.
Yeah.
It was no, I know who. Remind me who was in the. Because the little G watched the whole. Who was in the championship? I forget.
I know we usually have.
Gosh, if you wouldn't have asked me, I could have told you. I just drew a blank. Oh crap! Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Yeah, and Ohio State, they obliterated Notre Dame, and people were actually picking Notre Dame, and I was like, "There's no way, absolutely no way."
Yeah, because it was almost like a little bit of a Cinderella story, I guess. Not really Cinderella story, but they got smacked by Michigan, and then they came back and went through the playoffs and then won.
Oh yeah, you guys. Oh, Judy, that's right. You guys are Ohio State fans, right? Yeah, I've seen you in the. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they stomped them.
Would y'all rather watch a blowout like that or a close game?
Close game.
Yeah, I'm same way.
Yeah, close game for sure.
I left the one of the playoff games last weekend just because I was like, this is just stupid. Why am I watching this? The Eagles.
The Bills one hurt.
Yeah, I watched that one.
The Bills hurt.
That one hurt.
She had to leave. She didn't even see the last couple minutes.
Yeah,
she's like, I gotta go. It's too much.
Dude, I wanted the Bills to win so bad last week.
Everybody did.
We all did.
Everybody.
They had it too. God, they were so close.
They did.
It was so cool.
It was difficult to watch. So.
Hey, let me show you this real quick. Is this why we're annoying? I was talking to a buddy of mine about this, and I was like, yeah, I can totally see why everybody would think we're fucking annoying.
There's no volume.
Yeah, I got you.
I was like, where is she going with it?
I grew up calling someone queer was like a slur. Can you tell me what that means? I mean that sincerely. And how is it different than just saying you're lesbian or bisexual or gay?
So it can be different for everyone. It's a spectrum just like anything else. And for me personally, I like everyone.
No, but what does queer mean though?
Queer, it's just a label.
What does the label mean?
It's different for everyone.
I'm not trying to put you
what is a woman?
When if I called somebody queer, I'd get in trouble. Just give me like a working definition.
We were the same way. Queer was not a word you used as like something as a good term.
So queer is just something that you identify as with your sexuality. It can be related to gender too.
Right. But how do you know once you achieve queer? Can you give me saying that anybody can be it doesn't tell me what that thing is.
This is why we're annoying, right? Like it really like I saw it and it annoyed the shit out of me, and I was like, oh, okay, this is why we're annoying. I got it. I get it.
Dude, Charlie Kirk, he is on point. He is so smart. Very good debater.
I like him a lot too. A lot of people don't. Sometimes he gets a little extra righty for me, but for the most part, I can get down with him. He's pretty cool. The Royal Rumbles tonight. Yeah, that's fair.
Is it on Netflix now, Kenneth?
We might see you there, Grant. 3-inch shoe. How tall are you? Like 5, 6, 7, something like that.
Grant.
Oh, I'm waiting for.
Are y'all excited to go to the game?
Yes.
So excited.
I can't freaking wait.
I'm glad we got our hotel when we did. So as soon as I saw that it was in Albany and was like confirmed, I came home and I was like, the games are in Albany. We have to like decide right now if we're gonna go because I need to get a hotel like right now.
And we got it.
And we got the hotel, and then a friend of ours, I think, waited until like the next day to get a hotel, and they're all sold out already. The ones closest, like we're like an 8-minute walk from the venue,
Oh, that's sick.
which is really cool because we can leave and go back to the hotel. We're gonna have baby G with us. Like if there's a pool, like we can walk back and forth and don't have to be stuck there. But within like
that's nice.
24 hours, that shit was sold out, and I'm sure these tickets are gonna be too. Are you coming to the games?
No.
No,
I wish that would be sick, but
that
no,
would be
I'm
really
not.
cool.
How far is Albany from y'all?
God, I
Or,
love
like, how far is
That's so fun. I love your
4
accent
hours.
so much.
is my accent? 4 hours?
Yeah.
That's
On a
not
good
bad.
drive. If there is a little bit of traffic, like 4.5, but
And it's really, we have family up there too, so he'll probably
we drive there all
yeah,
the time. Yeah,
it's-
we drive up there all the time.
So how far is Albany from like New York City?
Two,
Yeah,
and a half,
2.5 hours.
2.5.
Yeah.
I've been to New York City once, long time ago, like 8 years ago probably.
Don't come now.
We went at Christmas.
Well, they're cleaning it up, but don't come now. It's not good now.
It was dirty whenever. Well, I mean, I guess you can expect the subways and stuff to be dirty, but
Yeah.
it was interesting.
Albany. Isn't that how Tyler says it?
Albany.
Albany.
What position did I play in basketball? I was a center. But I mean, I was a small, I should have been a power forward probably, but there was no girls taller than me. So but I was a power forward in college. So I played.
Oh, you played college ball?
Yeah, Northeastern.
Oh, sick.
She was so
Baller.
good. She was so good. I wish I was.
That was back in the day where there were position players. There's no more position players. Everybody's a 3-point shooter. I couldn't shoot a fucking 3. There's no way.
I'm trying to find somebody that has tape of her playing, because that's the one part of her life that I wasn't around for, but I hear stories.
Hey, I didn't get to ask you this either. What'd you think about, we were talking about this on the pod the other day about Trump allowing ICE agents to go into schools. I was wondering how you felt about them being allowed to go into churches. Because it was like churches, hospitals, and schools.
I mean, I don't know. Like, okay, so my stand on it is wherever it's at. I mean, I don't think that really changes I mean, do you want to go into a school and pull out a kid? Like, I mean, I get that part, but at the same time, that's on the parents. I mean, if you want to come to this country, by all means, come, but do it legally. Do it the right way. That's not my problem. That, like, if I try to go over to Italy and stay over there, I'm gonna have to have a passport. I'm gonna have to, if I'm staying longer term, I'm gonna have to get a visa. That's not negotiable, you know? I think, you know, Trump's getting a lot of hate for that. And yeah, you know, I'm a Trump supporter, but do I think that Trump's the savior? No, not at all.
Right.
But I mean, on that specific topic, I mean, if you want to come legally. I mean, you know, people are throwing out, well, oh, you're destroying families, you're ripping families apart. Well, I mean, it was their decision to come here illegally. Like, yeah, they're searching for a better opportunity. I understand that. But everybody else, comes the right way. And then you also hear the argument, well, the white man didn't come the right way the first time. Okay, well that was 400 years ago. Like, come on, let's use common sense. Let's be smart. If you want to come, do it the right way. I mean, that's my opinion on it. I think it's common sense, me personally. But I mean, what's y'all's opinion on it? This is gonna get real awkward if y'all y'all are totally against me on that.
No. A lot of high schoolers are gang members, and I think Judy, you might have been in the chat the other day too. We were talking about it, and it they are. We had a lot of like 15 to 17-year-olds that were forming their own kind of little gangs and were running all over New York City, just fucking up everybody. And it's like, hey, if you know that they're going to be at school, or I mean, probably a lot of them don't go to school, but if they happen to be in school and that's where they are. We have cops in schools, we have cops that hang out at the elementary school all the time just in case, to protect the kids. So I mean, I guess you know what I mean. I'm okay with it. Like, if you got to go, you got to go. You got to go. If it was an American kid that actually committed a crime and they knew that he was going to be at school the next day, they'd go in and get him.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, it does, like, especially when you start talking about like younger kids. I mean, it does suck for the kids because they don't have a choice. I mean, they were just along for the ride. I mean, they didn't choose this, but I mean, at the same time, rules are still rules.
I was just wondering what you thought about churches. Do you think that that's like, because a lot of people go to churches for like refuge or safety, or back in the day during colonial days or whatever, you could hide in a church and be okay. You weren't allowed to go in the church to get the person or whatever. So I'm just kind of curious if there's still that sentiment. I'm personally fine with it, but
no, I don't see anything wrong with it. Because I mean, on a similar token, I mean, if you had somebody who was, I don't know, it's an extreme example, but if you had a rapist on the loose or something, and he was in your church, and they knew he was in there, you'd want him to be gone. I mean, it's the same. What's wrong is wrong.
Yeah,
it's a sucky situation, but
I just feel
the kids. That's the part that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, going in and scaring some kids, that have no idea what's going on, and then scaring even if they're going into getting a single kid and scaring that kid because that kid doesn't understand what's going on. Like, I have a problem with that because we're trying, sadly, they're paying for something that they just don't understand. And I feel like that's what a lot of this country feels like right now, is that so many things, we don't like change. And there's a lot of change going on. And I have always been very vocal on the fact that I get very scared every time that there's a lot of change going on. I'm just starting to not be as left leaning as I was, and realizing that there's different ways to think of things and asking more questions and whatever. But I am trying. What I'm doing this time is I'm not leading with my emotions. So I think it's fucked up if these extreme situations are happening and these kids that just don't understand. And, but I'm also thinking logically, like, we are the parents and we are supposed to do the best that we can with the situation that we have. I have complete empathy for parents wanting to do and feeling like they have to do anything and everything because they're in a really shitty situation. And I have complete empathy for that. So these families that literally packed a bag and left because they felt like they had no other choice, like, I have empathy for that. I also understand that there are laws for a reason. We have to have laws. And I want my home to be safe. As selfish as people want to look at me and say, well, you're being selfish, the same way that you're being selfish, the same way that you're being selfish every time that you lock your car door, every time that you lock your doors and windows before you go to bed at night, every time that you don't open your doors for some random stranger that's on the street.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean
if I'm selfish, how about you let them come stay in your house?
Right. Right. And you can't have that argument because they're like, it's not the same thing. It is the same thing. I'm not saying that I, for the first time in a long time, because when you become a part of the LGBT community, you are supposed to believe that America hates you. And maybe some of America does hate you. But at the end of the day, I am not in disbelief to know that if I was in any other country, I would not be able to love my wife the way that I love her. Or it would be very, very difficult in some countries. You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, it's a free country. we're
Right.
still free to do. And
Yeah,
that's why
right.
I think, and again, I mean, I don't want to get crazy political, but that's why I think this election was
My wife
such a
does
big
always.
deal.
She wants to talk politics. It's fine. Go ahead.
Just trying to understand
I
shit.
try not to get too far into it, but it's just crazy that it's so common sense versus not. Like
Yes.
it amazes me.
So I think what's happening is and correct me if, or not correct me, but like if there's a different, belief or whatever, is I think that I don't think that every situation is right or left. I think that there's so many nuances in every single situation that we're in right now that I don't think it is so like, well, let's just do it this way because it's going to fix everything. And I think that that might be the hardest part of all of this change, is that with some of his decisions, he is simply saying there's no time for this middle ground anymore. Like, I have to be this extreme for us to maybe eventually get back into the middle. And I think that that is very scary for people, because when you take such an extreme measure, unfortunately, there's going to be people that are going to get hit in the crossfire. It's not
Well,
fair.
I personally think that, I mean, just in this specific case, since this is where we're at, yeah, I think he's probably taken such a right-handed stance because for the last 4 years, everything's been so far left. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just to get back to that middle ground, you got to go far right because, but that's the difference. Just like we were talking about earlier, that's the double standard. Anything from the far right people, or anything from the right at all, from the left side is wrong. Anything from the right or anything from the left to the right side is wrong.
Yeah.
There is no middle ground anymore. And they made it that way.
How are you able to navigate that, the whole idea that, because again, my understanding of what the Bible says is that there's forgiveness. There's a lot of forgiveness, right? But there's also laws that you also agree with. You agree that their laws are laws are laws. How do you personally navigate like a situation like this where there should be forgiveness for the actions that parents took because they felt like it was the only thing that they could do for themselves and for their children, but then also understanding that the law is the law is the law?
So you're saying what? Okay, ask that one more time. So
there's forgiveness, right? You have a very strong faith, and in faith there's forgiveness and grace and understanding and this whole idea that you don't judge and God and Jesus forgive, and they're there to help other people and all this type of stuff. And the argument is that we should give grace and understanding for the fact that these people came over here illegally because they felt like they had no other choice. But then also in the same breath being able to turn around and say, I also believe in the law, and they came over here illegally. They broke the law. So for you, how do you navigate your faith, your strong faith, and your honest beliefs in the laws, that laws were broken?
That's good. That's tough.
Yes, there's always one question I can get that's
that's
a tough
tough.
question.
Because and I would like to know, not to use this as a cop out, but I would like to know what the percentage of that is the people who came over. You know what I'm saying? Because I think, I mean, it's a little bit, it's different context, but in Psalms it says to care for the orphans and the widows. So that could be, see, and I honestly think, yes, there's laws, but I truly believe, and this may be putting too much faith in our government, but I really think that if it was all people coming for refuge to get away from bad things, I think it would be different. I really do. I think that's the, and again, not to use it as a cop out, but I think that's what's been the smoke and mirrors, is on these commercials and blah 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 blah. Oh, well, they're seeking refuge. They're seeking refuge. They're seeking refuge. Well, then where'd all these gang members and where'd all these You know what I'm saying? Like they're using
And that's
that
the
as the
thing, and
cover up.
they're making it hard for the people that actually do need refuge from
Right.
these socialist, communist countries. There's no room for them. We're trying to come
Because
over.
I feel like if you're in my opinion, and I don't know biblically where this is, but if you're seeking refuge from a bad situation, it's my job as a Christian and a human to take care of you because you can't fend for yourself. Now that whether that be for example, so our church takes a mission trip every year to Nicaragua, and I went this past year. So we go into these communities, and when I tell you they have nothing, I mean it's pitiful. I mean they literally have nothing. Well, those people, it's not. I don't have to. We as Christians don't have to go over there and help those people, but they need it. So
Yeah.
as a Christian, you're supposed to love people. It doesn't just say love people in your community, in your country, within your walls. You're supposed to take the gospel to the nations. The nations is all over. You know what I mean? So that's where I would stand with that. Like if you're, and again, I don't really know biblically versus
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
law
yeah.
of the land. Like I don't
Yeah,
really know where that fits, but if a person is legitly trying to get out of a bad situation that they're getting hurt, I see nothing wrong with them coming over,
Yeah.
or
That's
nothing wrong with us aiding them. Like for example, this is sad. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but the plane crash that just happened in
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
yeah.
That was if I understand it, if I read it correctly, or if I was told correctly, that was a little Mexican girl who Shriners had paid for her to have a life-changing surgery, and they were taking her back whenever
Oh,
that
wow.
happened.
Ugh.
I mean,
Wow,
that's kind of
wow.
the same. Like I don't know if she was a Mexican citizen or a U.S. citizen, but that's kind of the same. You know, she was. It in the article that I saw, it said Mexican. So I don't know if they were. I don't know.
We knew you were going to show up. Hello,
What's
Mr.
up?
Bernie. Forgiveness is personal. Society is built on law, which is supposed to be justice and blind, not emotional.
Bernie always preps me for these religion conversations. He's like my he looks everything up for me, so I know what fuck I'm saying. All right,
It's smart.
let's wrap up with my kid is like Kenneth wanted to know, is Unashamed Fitness and Faith yours or John's or both of yours or just
Both really. Like John, whenever we talked about doing it, John told me, he said, you know, he's involved in a bunch of different podcasts, but he said that he was like, dude, I'm totally down to do it with you. He said the only thing that I ask is that you do all the StreamYard and
the
like,
back
setting it
end
up,
stuff.
like you do all that. Which I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing because I have not really gotten the hang of it yet. Like I'm not.
It comes after a while.
It's getting better, but
Yeah.
I'm not tech savvy. Like
Listen,
I have a hard time.
if you ever want to learn, it's easy. We could just give you a link and we can show you the screen and
share
we can
screens.
teach you. And it's pretty simple once you figure it out. So
I need to learn more about how to clip stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's her.
In like a less time consuming way.
That's her.
Yep.
Yeah, you just get on with her and she'll show you how to do it. It's
because in my opinion, that's the only way we're gonna grow is like, yeah, you obviously you still do your live streams, still have your shows, but if people don't know about you, they're not just gonna randomly find you on YouTube when you have
you gotta go to Instagram,
you know what I mean?
Gotta share, you gotta even just small clips or whatever. So yeah, for sure.
D-Read,
but I think Daniel was like the missing piece. We were kind of I feel like the last few episodes with me, him, and Daniel have flowed a lot better. And I think John would agree as well.
Yeah, they're great.
It takes practice though, Brock. It really does. Like if you ever want a good laugh, go to the very beginning of our podcast.
Oh no, don't do that.
We were not good.
It's not cute.
We were not good.
It was cute.
It was not cute. Sevon used to.
Yeah, he's like, they're unlistenable.
Yeah, Sevon said on one of his shows when we first started that we were unlistenable.
Yeah.
So
as
it
we
takes
were,
a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Just
We're
getting it's mostly just getting comfortable on camera and being able to just
Yeah.
have a very fluid conversation and let it
Yo,
flow
man,
and
you
whatever.
just saw
So
me. I almost just literally started crying on camera. I had to get up and just walk for a second. I was like, okay, I got this. Got it.
Yeah, I feel like I've done better today, but I don't feel like I'm always great when people like ask me questions on the spot. Like
No,
I don't feel like I'm very great at that, but
No,
you're
like
good.
you
I'm
said,
getting more comfortable on camera. I will say that.
yeah.
it's
Like
fine.
I feel normal right now.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
because she's the one that has to write the questions out. I always come up with my questions just listening. I'm just better like that. Like the first couple ones, like I would try to prepare a lot and whatever. And I'm like, I can't because then I'm going to feel like I'm missing something and then I'm not listening to what's actually being said. And I'm really good at just having conversations, and questions always come up when we're just having normal conversations. So
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow, guys, we got Ellie Hiller. She's coming on. She's mama to be. She's gonna tell us how she's feeling. I think she's like 3 or 4 months pregnant. So yeah. So we're gonna have that conversation tomorrow.
Yep.
Brock, thanks, dude. I appreciate you, my boy.
No, I enjoyed it. Thank y'all.
I did too.
I appreciate that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
We'll
thanks,
do it
guys.
again.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. I always like having
absolutely.
these conversations. I gotta figure this shit out, but now I gotta go look stuff up because I gotta go look stuff up.
Well, and I do appreciate actually talking and not just telling me it's simple. John Young does not understand that it's not simple.
No, I'm always down to talk. I don't know all the answers, but
No, none of us
talk.
do. I think that's why it's cool that you guys are willing to come on and hang out and kind of, what is it? Like, well, we got to ask the questions, figure it out. So,
but I think that's a really kind of cool way to end this, is that not every conversation has to be leaving with answers. Why not have conversations that leave you with more questions?
And also too, you're not always going to like the answers. Like I didn't particularly like some of those answers that you had for me hurt, but like those are the answers. So you know what I got to do now? I got to go figure it out, think about it some more, talk to some more people about it, figure out
have
how
more conversations.
Like, and it doesn't always just because I have someone on my show that I like and I'm very comfortable, it doesn't mean that you're going to give me the answers I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We know you don't grow being comfortable.
Yeah.
You grow being uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
And in some cases, very, very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, and like on the flip side of that, like a lot of times answering a question for me is uncomfortable because like I don't want to come across as hurting somebody's feelings, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of it for me can be uncomfortable too.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. It's not like
that's why we like.
It's not like you hate us and you want to come over here and make us feel like shit. Like but you're not gonna.
No.
You know what I mean? So it was a good learning experience for me tonight. There's no question about it. That's why I love y'all. So
yeah,
that was very cool of you to do. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Like I said, I'll see you tomorrow. 4:00 is Ellie Hiller.
Yep.
And then hopefully we'll have a big surprise for you on Sunday before the Super Bowl. So we can pregame before the Super Bowl. So that should be fun.
What a pregame.
It's going to be a pregame.
So, all right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Deuces.
Bye.